Fear. It's a primal instinct hardwired into our very being. It keeps us alive, warning us of danger. It makes our hearts race and our palms sweat, yet we are strangely drawn to it. Why? Why do we crave the feeling of our skin prickling, our breath catching in our throats? Perhaps it's the adrenaline rush, that surge of energy that prepares us to fight or flee. Or maybe it's the thrill of the unknown, the anticipation of what lurks around the corner. Fear, in its own twisted way, is a part of what makes us human. And yet, it's also a source of excitement, a way to test our limits and experience the world in a whole new way. What happens inside our heads when we experience fear? It's a complex process, orchestrated by a small, almond-shaped region in the brain called the amygdala. This tiny powerhouse is responsible for processing emotions, particularly fear and anxiety. When we encounter something frightening, our senses go on high alert. Information is relayed to the amygdala, which acts as a sort of alarm system. It triggers the release of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, preparing the body for a fight-or-flight response. But here's where it gets interesting. The brain also releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. This surge of dopamine, coupled with the adrenaline rush, creates a sense of euphoria that some people find highly addictive. This explains why some people love roller coasters, horror movies, and other fear-inducing activities. They're hooked on the chemical cocktail their brains produce in response to fear. For some, the fear response is something to be sought out, a challenge to be conquered. These are the adrenaline junkies, the thrill seekers who find joy in pushing their limits. They crave the rush of fear, the feeling of being truly alive. They scale mountains, jump out of airplanes, and swim with sharks. They watch horror movies with glee, relishing every jump scare and gruesome scene. For them, fear is not something to be avoided, but embraced. These individuals often have a higher tolerance for fear and anxiety. Their brains may process dopamine differently, leading to an increased sense of pleasure in response to fear-inducing stimuli. They are wired to seek out novel and intense experiences. They thrive on the edge of their comfort zones where the line between fear and exhilaration blurs. When fear paralyzes, why some avoid the darkness? But not everyone enjoys a good scare. For some, fear is a debilitating emotion, something to be avoided at all costs. These individuals may have a lower threshold for fear, meaning they react more strongly to perceived threats. Their amygdala may be more sensitive, triggering an exaggerated fear response even in situations that others find mildly unsettling. This can lead to avoidance behaviors, where they steer clear of anything that might trigger their anxiety. For these individuals, the dopamine rush associated with fear is often overshadowed by feelings of dread and panic. They don't experience the same sense of pleasure or reward, making fear-inducing activities unenjoyable and potentially traumatic. Fear's historical shadow. From public shaming to scary stories. Fear has played a complex role in human society throughout history. It has been used as a tool for control, a weapon to instill obedience and conformity. Public executions and corporal punishment served as stark reminders of the consequences of disobedience. Religion, too, has often used fear to reinforce moral codes and social norms. Tales of hellfire and damnation instilled a sense of dread, encouraging people to live righteous lives. But fear has also served a more positive purpose. It has brought communities together, fostering cooperation and solidarity in the face of danger. Scary stories, told around campfires, have entertained and educated for generations, passing down warnings and wisdom. From ancient myths to modern horror movies, we have always been drawn to stories that explore the dark side of human nature and the unknown. The social side of fear, why we watch horror together. Why do we gather in darkened theaters to watch horror movies? Why do we tell ghost stories around campfires? Part of it is the shared experience, the bonding that comes from facing our fears together. When we watch a horror movie with friends, we scream together, laugh together, and jump together. We experience a range of emotions, from terror to relief to exhilaration, all in the company of others. This shared experience creates a sense of camaraderie, a feeling of connection. Moreover, watching scary movies allows us to confront our fears in a safe and controlled environment. We know it's not real, that the monster on the screen can't hurt us. This allows us to experience the thrill of fear without any real danger. The final scream, embracing or rejecting the darkness. Ultimately, our relationship with fear is deeply personal. It's influenced by our genetics, our upbringing, and our individual experiences. Some of us are hardwired to crave the rush, while others are predisposed to avoid it. There's no right or wrong way to experience fear. What matters is that we understand our own reactions and respect the boundaries of others. Whether we're adrenaline junkies or scaredy cats, we all deserve to feel safe and in control of our own experiences. So the next time you feel that familiar shiver down your spine, remember this: fear, in its own way, is a gift. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.